Hi people, welcome back to the channel. It's Chrissy here. I'm going to do the weekly astrology report for next week, beginning Monday the 11th through Sunday the 17th of July 19. Okay. Next week is looking like the crumbling or the beginning of the crumbling of what's kind of come to the end of its shelf life, like the intellect and the ego have gone as far as they can go in the material world. And this rising is happening, and for the rising to happen, what no longer serves is crumbling. And what I'm seeing in next week's astrology is the crumbling. So if we start with Monday, and where the sun sextiles the North Node, we have a surge of energy coming in on Sunday, vitality, energy, focus. And what we're learning, the theme is we're learning to overcome challenges, to navigate chaos. We're learning to fight. We're learning not to avoid conflict. So overcoming challenges using patience, tenacity, and consistency is bossing up energy. This sticking with it no matter what old order excuses of convenience might arise. So for every action, there is an abreaction or an equal and opposite reaction. And when we push ourselves, we feel the fear of doing so. We feel the abandonment of the past. We feel like we've stepped off the jetty of a certain kind of security. So patience and tenacity and stubbornness. Okay, so sticking with it no matter what old order excuses of convenience might arise. Independence and freedom meeting chaos and order. What does that look like in your life? All right, and now we jump to Wednesday the 13th. Wednesday is Mercury square Chiron. So it's challenging the mind. And yeah. So that's going to challenge our belief system around family wounds and where, what, and who we are in our family system and who we've grown up to be or who we believe ourselves to be. Because all families have a systemic order. And more often than not, that order is out of alignment. If we're talking about the parentification of children, for children to parent their parents, they have to go from the bottom of the natural hierarchy of ancestors. They have to go from the bottom to the parent and to the grandparent in order to parent down. And this might be the part of Chiron, as I tune into this week, this next week, Chiron speaks louder. And this is what I'm connecting into now. Is what's that going to look like if we let go of the parentification wound? But who's going to care for them if I'm not there? Yeah. So challenging our belief system around family wounds, where, what, who we are in our family system. Think again. There is nothing that cannot be redeemed and uplifted. I'm going to speak into Chiron now, because I had a chat with Chiron this morning, with the archetype of Chiron. Chiron is known affectionately as the wounded healer, and it talks into, it's like a martyr wound. It's like the unhealable wound. And we're in expansion and upliftment, so there's part of me that wants to challenge that. And that's when this thought came in, that in all of my experience as a therapeutic practitioner, there's nothing that cannot be redeemed and uplifted and loved back to life, nothing. So Chiron is speaking to the martyr archetype. Now, as I was having this thought, excuse me, I was also listening to a song. And the two went collide, poof. And the song is Party's Over. And it's by Rag and Bone Man, who is soul on a stick. So I'm looking at the lyrics to Party's Over, and they are profound. And if I just pick out some of the lyrics, you're always trying to be righteous. Okay, so this is bringing the intellect in as well. Because the intellect is protecting the part of Chiron that actually doesn't want to give up the wound. Look what's happening to my throat. Change your name, cut your hair, dance around like no one's watching. There's no shame in letting go, burn your bridges, start again. There's a whole world for the taking. Hold him tight and let him go. Fake a smile, take a bow. Now the party's over. You say it's never the right words. You say it's never the right time because you're treading water while he's throwing you a lifeline. Don't be a martyr. Don't take him under. He was the lightning to your thunder. It's just a temporary loss. Don't sit around and count the cost. Beautiful lyrics which speak straight into this wounded martyr, Pisces, the moving into the higher-minded Aquarian. So check him out. He's an amazing man. He just is an amazing, amazing man. Let's go back to the astrology. So Chiron is still featuring. Mercury is really asking us to ask some deeper questions about woundings and healings and expansion pack, how we're going to download and integrate our expansion pack. Okay. There's nothing that cannot be redeemed and uplifted. So still with the 13th, Wednesday, we have Venus trine Saturn. Venus in Gemini, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. Questions. What makes a strong and stable relationship? So again, I'm going to bring in the energy of the conscious disruptor. And as a conscious disruptor, rather than a reactionary process to life, as a conscious disruptor, what to you looks like a strong, stable relationship? What kind of relationships give you confidence and an ability to trust? And where does this challenge any hidden fear of rejection? Venus is also square Neptune, so beware of getting lost in romantic illusion of what you think might look like a stable relationship. This is speaking straight into relationships. Venus always kind of, I remember that Venus retrograde this year was an absolute stinker. Was it this year or last year? It was an absolute stinker. So Venus is asking us, is this what I'm worth? Am I worth more? And that's going to question every relationship you have. Primary relationship, remember, is self, but all the relationships around you. And there's a lot, I mean, Venus square Neptune is Disney. It's illusion beyond measure. It is getting lost in romantic illusion, subjective rather than objective, or what is really happening here. But I don't want to face that truth. Well, okay, good luck with that. Saturn is also square Uranus. So I was talking about boundaries and conditions that are too rigid. And that square is happening at 555, 5 degrees, 55 arc minutes. 5 seeks adventure and expansion. 5's experience life through all 5 senses at the same time. So we're talking about boundaries and the constriction of Saturn and Uranus, the planet of revolution. Boundaries and conditions that are too rigid. Because Uranus seeks freedom, Saturn, not so much. Saturn seeks order. Uranus seeks chaos. So now we go to the 14th. And we have Mercury sextile Uranus. Which feels like a very daring energy, cheeky and daring. Inspiration and invention is what I get. Curious, intelligent, and creative, expressing your voice in new, inspiring ways and finding a new route to chaos. Learning how to argue from a higher vantage point that doesn't seek to win the point. Lower to higher mind. Venus is also square Neptune. Again, beware of getting lost in romantic illusion. And Neptune is sextile Pluto. So this is reconciliation, peace building. It's adulting. It's adulting. It's what it feels like. Transformation on a global scale. So we're going to go large. And there's a real kind of warning about not getting lost in old narratives here that give us that romantic feeling of illusionary security or churchiness, comfort. Okay, so still with the 14th. And we have new life orientation. 14/7 is 21. 7/9. New life orientation. What was my motive in that? And what is my motive in this? Right. So here we start breaking down illusion. Because in illusion, we can, I don't really want to go too deeply into this, but it's coming in. If we're talking about adapting, the adapted child, the adapted child has to lie to itself and tell itself all sorts of stories to do something actually that's out of alignment with soul. Out of alignment, it isn't natural to care for a parent as a young child. But because children's formative years are about survival and how to survive, they will do anything to stay fed and watered and dry, warm and dry. So they have to start lying to themselves. We all lie to ourselves to even live in this society, this dehumanized society. So when we start looking at that polarity of what was my motive in that, to survive and be with the hard, ugly truth of that, to wound myself and survive. What is my motivation in this? So this is conscious creation, conscious. It's conscious. You're all here. You're all here and present. So we have a feeling of critical inquiry into the personality. And that might feel like feeling frustrated with the limitations to what you want to build or what you wanted to build, what you couldn't build. So it might bring a bit of the past in versus what your mind has been trained to limit itself in a world of greed and hunger. Sorry, versus what I really want to build. And to know what you really want to build, you've got to be heart-centered and soul-connected. There's nothing else. There's going to be nothing else to pull from. It's the crumbling. We're in the crumbling. So again, then if we move to the 16th, which is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, July the 16th. Then we're still with, there's so much Mercury activity, so lots of thinking. And again, stay with the critical inquiry. Beware of that moment where you've got lost in your thoughts and bring yourself back to what was my focus in this. So this is really moving into more of a masculine energy. So Saturday is, we're talking about the difference between subjective opinion and objective fact, the level of critical inquiry that's really going to help us sort the wheat from the chaff. An opinion is not a fact. So watch out for subtle manipulation, because people whose opinions are deeply embedded can believe them with such a conviction that they have also developed ways of convincing and persuading others to believe their opinion. But an opinion is just, it's like a fingernail, we all have one. Okay. So Sunday, again, staying with Mercury, Neptune trine. And we have fantasy and dream thinking. So Neptune's really helping us to come up out of the drowning deep waters and see what's really happening. So fantasy and dream thinking without any foundation. Is it hope based on fantasy, or is it faith based on an inner, unshakable knowing? Yeah, we're really being called to task now. It's like a call to action. Put your thoughts into action. Step up, adult. Wow. Wow. And the final thought for the week is, again with Neptune, Sun trine Neptune, is about high ideals without structure can create piety. And that speaks into this 9 energy. Having ideals and mixing that with this fantasy dream thinking and the creation of fantasy thoughts so strong, and you hold it with such conviction that you become pious in that, you become unmovable in that, and then you start convincing others that that's the truth. So look out for that. What are your high ideals? Because high ideals can be where we put, oh crap, I've just seen the time. High ideals can be where we put conditions around love. And that's not good enough for me. Well, are you good enough for it? Where will it challenge you? Is that what you're avoiding? And we do avoid. So it's a rubbling. There's some rubbling going on. I'm going to do these 2, and then I have to dash. Okay. Speak cards. So we're looking at the 11th to the 17th. What do we need to know? Interesting. That's great, because right, so as I was shuffling and I said, what do we need to know? My solar plexus went, ee. It's like this. The cards that came out, the third house of communication, right? So the whole week is about what is fantasy, what is subjective, and what is objective. Where do we push the point? And it's just an opinion. Where can it not be proved in fact? So communication, partnership, relationships. And here's Saturn, authority. Coming in on that 48-12. So which is about, it's so much authority in that. But it's basically about how we self-govern. Are we learning to have a good fight? Is that what we're doing? Tell me more. Are we learning to have a good fight? Is that what I'm taking from this? There we are. The discomfort of the rise. Oh, gorgeous. I've just been given an image. I'm not going to dig it out, but it's in the Light Seers Tarot. And I think it's the Ace of Wands or the Queen of Wands. And it's just this kind of warrior woman standing there with her wand planted in the ground. And she looks fierce but gorgeous, not fierce and scary. She just looks fierce and joyful. It's a beautiful image. So if we're learning to kind of disagree with one another, then we're learning to stand our ground in passion rather than debilitation. Oh yeah, the debilitated martyr energy. This is a real collective rising here. Okay, what else on learning how to have a good fight? I guess it's learning, of course, it all starts with the primary. So it's learning how to come into conflict with ourselves and create reconciliation, because we have peace and reconciliation. Opportunities, that's too many. Opportunities for peace and reconciliation next week. Okay, that might be too many. Here we go. Oh, gird your loins, kids. Okay. Courage. Courage. Change. Expansion. We had this in the last reading. I have shuffled. Strength. Okay. Remember, Sun sextile, the North Node. Overcoming challenges using patience, tenacity, and consistency. So look at these energies here. We have strength, courage, and change. So they're all coming in, week commencing the 11th, to assist in the expansion. That's massive. This is massive. Right, can we finish with some of these? And then I'm going to say, for now. That's it. That's it. Oh, oh. Because you're worth it. Anything else? Be inspired by love. And that's it. I'm looking forward to the comments on these 2 videos. Guys, take care. Have a great end of the week and weekend, and I will no doubt see you all again next week. Much love. Take care. Bye.